Hello, it's me, your boy Biffweed. So if you are in the versus community, a question you'll definitely hear is, what is your most wanted death battle, or just simply what is your most wanted matchup? For some people this is an easy answer. For others they have too many good ideas to pick just one. I'm kind of in both camps, as I have one battle I can definitely call my most wanted, but there are also a lot of battles I'd like to talk about, so that's what this video is about, listing my 20 most wanted versus battles for any series and naming the connections for each. A few things. First, these are obviously all battles that I personally want. Everyone has different opinions and desires, so if one of my battle ideas is shit to you, then sorry for my garbage taste. Not all battles are created equal, and some battles may only have connections that I'll personally know about, or just because of the memes. As the list goes on, the battles will have more connections. The thumbnails I made for these include fan art that I didn't make, so if you recognize the artist of these, tell me, and I'll leave a link in either the description or comments. Lastly, I did actually draw track covers for some of these battles, and even some art of the battle itself, so I will be showing these off throughout the video. Now that's all said, time to go and actually talk about battles. Now, when I said some battles were memes, I was mostly referring to this battle. Soul Warrior from Hollow Knight vs Goldermore from Shovel Knight. What are the connections? Well, they are annoying enemies in games that end with Knight. Yep, that's it. The connection probably only applies to me, but Goldermore was the most annoying enemies to fight in Shovel Knight, and Soul Warrior was the most difficult boss in Hollow Knight for me, at least for a while. I have an easier time fighting them now that I'm no longer shit at the games. It's only number 20 on the list because even though I find it funny, that's about it. It's just funny and not really exciting. Also, fuck Goldermore, all my homies hate Goldermore. This is the only spite matchup I have because I wanna see Goldermore get murked. Another battle that only I have a connection with. The brutal star Pokemon Toxipex vs the poisonous deep.io creature Stonefish. Now they do have some non-personal connections. Both are poisonous sea creatures that can poison you with their toxic barbs and spikes, and they can breathe out of water at least for a while. The personal connection I have with me is the Toxipex, and its Prevo Marini are my second favorite Pokemon, and when I was really into deep.io my main was Stonefish. The biggest problem with this fight is that 1. If the humans in deep.io are normal-sized, that means the Stonefish is bigger than a human, while Toxipex is only 2 foot tall, and 2. I doubt anyone would be willing to power scale a Demio game. However, I never said these matchups had to be in a death battle or on a researched versus show. Throw this battle in DBX and watch like 4 people vote for Stonefish. This is so sad. This battle is so low because even though I like the idea, I haven't watched either series and I don't care about either character. Lucy from Elfen Light vs Hiroshi Shigami from Inuyashiki. The connections are young anime characters who are psychopathic killers who can kill you with invisible weapons. However, despite being killers, they still have people who they care about. They can also probably one-shot each other, with Lucy's vectors being able to slice things to ribbons easily and Hero's bangs being able to kill people even through video calls and TVs, so I don't think her vectors can block his shots. Nothing else for me to say here. Back to battles with minimal real connections. The Stardew Valley Farmer vs the Wayward Survivor. What is Wayward, you ask? Well, if you wait for me to say the connections then you'll fucking know. They are top-down sprite games with crafting in them. They also contrast with the farmer growing crops to make a profit and the survivor struggling to, well, survive. Back when I was in school, I would always be playing the browser version of Wayward, and it was basically the Stardew Valley in my life before Stardew Valley, which I also got obsessed with. Also, it seems like a pretty fair matchup with both characters having similar arsenals and fighting the same kind of enemies like slimes, big snakes, and spooky cave boys. However, the survivor has a gun, so GG, he wins easy. King K. Rool from Donkey Kong Country vs King Knight from Shovel Knight. To be honest, I only want this battle for the mashup of Gangplank Galleon and in the Hall of the Usurper. Yeah, that's basically it. I'm only slightly kidding. They do have connections, big strong false kings who try to act intimidating but are just dumb and goofy. Those are some fine connections, but again, I only care about the music. Also, this is probably a stomp as Donkey Kong can bonk a moon down onto Kong Island and K. Rool can fight on par with him. I don't think Shovel Knight has anything that can scale to that. So basically this next matchup is very small. 7 from the movie 9 released on 9/9/2009 vs Hornet from Hollow Knight. Now the connections are simple, small badass girls with long weapons. Now when it comes to an actual researched battle, I prefer Black Knight from Shovel Knight as an opponent for Hornet. However, for any non-researched show, or for scenario-based shows like Galaxy Grudge Match, it's 7v Hornet, Dawn of Small all the way. The main reason is that I love both characters a lot for how badass they are and for their agility. So far these battle ideas haven't had much substance to them aside from a few vague connections, but I promise from here on out the battles will have more to them. Sorry, it's another Hollow Knight battle. I only know like 10 series. Mimi from Super Paper Mario vs Nusk from Hollow Knight. These two both start out in a cute facade that lure you. Once you get close enough, however, they snap their fucking necks and turn into horrifying spider monster that still have a semblance of their former cute disguise. If this battle was ever to be made on any versus show, I would love a scene of them both transforming while an unrelated third party looks on in horror. Great battle. Nusk is a better Mimi opponent than Muffet. Speaking of Undertale, Sans is further down on the list. This spot is for the Mad Dummy from Undertale versus the Conductor from A Hat in Time. Vaguely bird-shaped yellowish characters who have knives and people who assist them in their boss fight. What will make or break this battle is the voice actors they choose for the character. These two constantly yell and are mad as hell all the time and have a lot of quotable lines, so they need voice actors that can do them justice. This battle does have a big problem in that the Conductor can't really kill Mad Dummy unless he makes him so angry that he fuses to his body and becomes the Glad Dummy. Actually, on second thought, that might make it more entertaining and more suspenseful actually. Imagine watching the battle and not knowing if the dummy can kill the Conductor before he gets too angry. Sounds pretty cool to me. Apex Legends is a game I really like. It's my preferred battle royale game and I love almost all of the characters. However, there seems to be a lot of Apex vs Overwatch battles, almost as much as there is Overwatch vs TF2, and finding other matchups for Apex characters is difficult. However, there are only 2 Apex vs Overwatch matches I like. The first one is Crypto vs Sombra. Both are top-tier hackers who are associated with the bright color. They have mysterious and hidden pasts. Both can track certain people through walls, and they both have a EMP ultimate attack that hacks enemies and disables their shields. Crypto and Sombra have much more in common than Sombra and Spy from TF2, and I think it would make a much better battle. Have a moment where Crypto spots invisible Sombra with his drone, but then she hacks and disables it. Have a moment where they both use their EMPs at the same time for a massive electrical blast. For the battle, I would give Crypto a charge rifle, since he was introduced into the game at the same time the rifle was, and a SMG to match Sombra's weapon. Among Us is a game that exists. It's not as popular as it once was, but it definitely left an impact on the world. So, what funny sus matchup did I come up with for the Imposters? Well, none. I came up with an actual battle that I unironically like. The Imposters versus the monster from Carrion. Both of these creatures are masters hiding in plain sight, able to look like normal people but kill suddenly, quickly, and efficiently. However, they are not good at facing groups all on their own, as they can be easily disposed of if they are caught in the act, with the crewmates able to throw the imposter into space and the Carrion dying quickly to gunfire. Now for this battle specifically, I want it to be 10 imposters versus the Carrion monster, as I think it could easily kill one imposter, but if it tried to face a group of them, it would be killed as the imposters have pistols. So, this could lead to a very interesting feeling to the whole fight, a darker, almost horror-like battle, where the Carrion tries to pick off the imposters one by one, while the imposters try to track the monster down and kill it. So basically the imposters must act like crewmates to win. How ironic. Also, both can go through vents, so let's have a battle in the vents. So I have 2 dark matters on this list. Both of them are not the ones you'd probably think. Here we have Gooey from Kirby vs Mew from Pokemon. These 2 adorable plushie baits have more in common than I first thought, which is a common theme for me. Both of these cuties have a large variety of abilities, with Gooey basically having Kirby's copy ability and Mew being able to learn any TM. Also, their bodies are soft and able to shapeshift and transform, and also have a long appendage, tail and tongue. It might have less connections than some of the other fights on this list, but just look at these 2, they are cute as hell. Let them fight to the death. I mentioned how I only have 2 Apex v Overwatch battles I like. Now here's the other one. Lucio from Overwatch vs Octane from Apex. Sombra vs Crypto might be more thematic, but this one seems much more fun. These are green boys who have speed boosting and self-healing powers. They are very famous in their universe. They have some of the best mobility out of any other character in their games. They have an ability to bounce or knock opponents away, and a common joke is that both them and the people who play them are always on drugs. While Sombra vs Crypto would be a slow but tense stealth battle, Octane vs Lucio could be a fast-paced and fun battle. I would want Octane to have a Havoc rifle and a Eva 8 shotgun. So apparently the type of men I'm into are jesters. Marks, Jevil, Fizzaroli, these are the kind of characters I simp over, so of course I had to put a jester in a versus match. Here is Dementio from Super Paper Mario vs Zamasu from Dragon Ball Super. More specifically, Super Dementio vs Merged Zamasu. The connections are simple, 2 green gods who achieve these forms by fusing with a hero's body with reality warping powers and a desire to destroy to create perfect new worlds. From what I'm told, Dementio should stomp, which is based and funny to imagine a Dragon Ball fan watching their character get beaten by a Mario character. Oh, and also they come from popular franchises that have super in the name. Okay, for real, here is Sans. Sans is a character everyone has heard about, whether through actually playing Undertale or through memes. We all know about Sans Undertale. So who could his matchup be today? He does have a lot of them of varying quality. Bill Cipher was a popular match for some reason. The judges rumored to be the one death battle would go with. Kara-sensei is also a great match for him, but the character I went with is Badger Clips from Mau Mau Heroes of Pure Hearts. These characters are lazy, laid back, and chill guys who like food and puns. However, when they get serious, they are incredibly powerful and hostile, and have strong laser attacks. I don't know who would win, since Sans is either OP or weak as hell depending on who you talk to. However, I do like how they contrast, as Sans is a glass cannon and Badger Clips being a tank. I grew up with Godzilla and I always liked kaiju. Funnily enough though, these 2 kaiju are ones I have no connection to other than I think they look cool. Mother Legion from Gamera Heisei vs Muto Prime from Godzilla Aftershocks. These are bug-like kaiju who threaten to reproduce and overrun the world. They managed to almost kill Gamera and Godzilla respectively, and they both have sharp whip-like weapons on their faces with Primes over posters and Legion searing red whips. Normally, I don't like it when series are constantly put against each other, as I mentioned with the Apex matches, and Godzilla and Gamera are very often put against each other. Aside from Iris vs Destroya, this is probably the only Gamera vs Godzilla match I wanna see. Now we are at the big boy matches, the matches I think of whenever I'm asked about my favorite matches. First up we got another Apex match, but luckily not against an Overwatch character again. Bloodhound from Apex vs the Predator from the Predator series. We need horror movie characters in versus, and the Predator is too badass not to choose them. Both of these characters are non-binary masked and highly skilled hunters. Honestly, thinking about a fight between these two just fills me with so much hype. If it takes place in a jungle we can have the Predator start out invisible and ready to kill Bloodhound, but then suddenly Bloodhound turns around and fires at Pred because they noticed the footprints left behind by them. Also, there can be a moment where Bloodhound scans for Pred while they are invisible, only to be attacked from behind. Pred has so many unique weapons and Bloodhound has access to a lot of cool guns, so you can have the battle constantly changing. Have a moment where Pred throws their shuriken at Blood only for it to be countered with an arc star. Have the battle start long range, then move in closer, and finally have all their weapons destroyed, so they have to do a gauntlet blade versus hunting knife and axe fight. And if Pred wins, have the kill be the Pred activating their self-destruct and purposely letting Blood chop off their arm, only to throw the arm at Blood as it explodes. This fight doesn't have many deep connections admittedly, but the potential alone has me hyped. Mortal Kombat needs no introduction even for people who haven't really played it. I'm not the biggest fan of it, admittedly, but it seems like an interesting world. This spot goes to the poster boy Scorpion. He has a few good matchups, but the one I went with is Scorpion vs Spectre Knight from Shovel Knight. Now you may be wondering, what, why? Well, allow me to explain. These two are undead ninjas who tragically died, yet they were revived by a sorcerer who in return asked for their services. However, the sorcerer betrayed them, and now these two seek revenge. This battle also has a lot of potential with Scorpion's array of fire abilities and Spectre Knight's many curios, but there is one big reason that I want this battle. The reason is the battle track name that I came up with, that I am way too proud of, Kusarigama. A Kusarigama is a ninja weapon that is a chain and sickle. Scorpion uses his chain dart, Spectre has a sickle, they are both ninja, it's too perfect. The second dark matter fight. This one uses everyone's least favorite dark matter, and no one's favorite Justice League villain. Dark Nebula from the Kirby series vs Starro from DC Comics. Starro needed an opponent that wasn't Shumagorath, so here is one. These two are star-shaped cosmic beings with the ability to possess and control others, and even make their hosts stronger. Apparently they both are around solar system level with Starro, having stronger psychic abilities, while Nebula has ice powers which is Starro's main weakness. I drew a short 12-page comic for this fight which should be on screen. As simple as this match is, I fell in love with it as it introduced me to Starro, who quickly became one of my favorite DC villains for no reason. Also, it could be an interesting fight with Dark Nebula having to kill hundreds of Starro spores, and Starro having to worry about being frozen by Nebula. The only problem with this fight, however, is that Nebula only appeared in one Kirby game, and he was barely even in the game, so he has no real feats as far as I know. He probably can be scaled to other dark matters, but as he is one of the weaker ones, this might not be a good idea. One of my favorite types of characters is the small, adorable yet violent child stereotype. There is just something amusing about seeing a small child craving chaos and violence. Characters like this include King from Owl House, Polly from Amphibia, and the two who are at number 2, Adorabed from MMHOPH and Fink from OKKO Let's Be Heroes. This battle holds a special place in my heart as it was the battle I first made a battle track cover for. The original one is shit, so I redrew it. The connections are two small, adorable, and violent children who have a transformation with a purple color scheme, and they used a powerful machine in one episode. Also, one is a hero's sidekick, and the other is a villain's minion. I think giving Adorabit the Zing powers and Mega Mech and giving Fink her tricycle would make for a chaotic and fun fast-paced fight. Adorabit is shown to scream loud enough to cause a cave-in, her Mega Mech can one-shot giant monsters, and her Zing powers destroyed a large part of Pure Heart Castle. Unfortunately, if Fink can scale to TKO, then Fink probably wins, as TKO was able to destroy the sun. Still, it could be a really fun time. Now, with all the other fights on this list, they change all the time in their placement, and by the time I'm done with this, it probably has changed. However, like everyone else, I have that one matchup that stays as my number one. At first, when I came up with this one, I thought it was just a simple battle with little if any connections. However, as I learned more about these characters, and as my love for these series grew, so did my love for this match. What is the match? It is Flowy from Undertale versus Blixer from Just Shapes and Beats. Now, despite how well received it was, no one I've talked to in the Versus community has played or heard of JSAB. JSAB is a rhythm bullet hell shooter game, and I don't need to explain what Undertale is. Hopefully, I have some personal connections to these games as I fell in love with them before I ever played them, and when I was in school, I would listen to the soundtracks in class and during tests. But these two have a lot of real connections and similarities aside from my own. They are the final bosses and main antagonists of unconventional bullet hell games. They both are plants, Flowy surprisingly being a flower and Blixer appearing to originally be a plant. They are the first characters you meet in-game and are quickly yet temporarily defeated. After the first act, you meet them again. They have fourth wall awareness and can interact with fourth wall stuff like files and credits. They stay a constant presence throughout the game, with Flowy being more subtle. After the fake-out final boss, they swoop in and steal a powerful item, the souls and the Tree of Life part, and use it to transform into horrifying new forms. They trap you in battles that seem unwinnable and become immune to timeline resets and know about them. They kill you multiple times in a row with one hit, and you only win with outside help that is related to the item they used to transform in the first place. They have banger boss music, and they both end up surviving after their fight, with Spearing Flowy and Blixer showing up to DJ. And it might actually be a close fight. Flowy is put at Universal, and while personally I think Blixer only caps out at Planet, there is a strong argument for him to possibly be Universal too, if the Tree of Life really did make the universe. Is this the best Flowy battle? Objectively, no. Is this the best Blixer fight? Probably not. However, because of how this battle grew with me as I got more and more into the Versus community, and with my own personal connections to the character, I can easily say it is without question the battle I most want to see in any Versus show. I love it so much that I drew 5 different track covers for it. Hell, I even spent $200 to commission Brandon Yates to do a song for it. I think it will be money well spent. This battle may never happen as Blixer is an obscure character. But hey, I recently found some fan-made trailers for this fight, and even some surprisingly good animations for it. And Death Battle has used more obscure characters in the past, so who knows? Maybe one day I'll be able to pop off as I watch the next time and see a Flowy being put up against a circle. And that was the list. Tell me not only your thoughts about the matchups here, but also leave some of your most wanted ones in the comments below. Thank you for watching.